Give us a rundown of
what we got coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So busy end of last year. Mo Pryor manages a few of the guys, so he puts them on down in Wales and obviously wherever else he's got bills as well. So we were up there 3 times in November and December. Yeah. All good results, yeah. Thank goodness. So we hit the ground running again, and we have 2 boys fighting in Newport on February 2nd on a Mo Pryor bill. Rhys Edwards, who's 2-0, and Meredith Thomas, who's 4-0. And then 4 weeks later, we have either 5 or 6 on the MTK bill on March 1st in the Vale Sports Arena in Penarth. So yeah, straight back into it. Not any time for the guys to rest. They had a little rest over Christmas because I don't believe in pushing the body, you know, every day all year round. So they had a few days off over the Christmas. So as I say, hit the ground running again now and back into it straight in the new year.
What's the just for each obviously each fight is at a different stage. You know, like Rhys is only a couple of fights and what have you. Have you got plans, or you spoke to Mo and the managers about what you want in 2019 for each of them, or at the moment is it a case by case?
Yeah, I think the boys with like Nathan Thorley, I think he fights for some sort of title on March the 9th. So I mean, Chris Sanigan manages Nathan. Yeah. Good fight, 12-0, 6 stoppages. Alex Hughes then, who's my middleweight, he's 12-0, 6 stoppages as well. So you know, they basically determine with their results where they're going. I think at 12, 13, 14 fights, you want to really be knocking on the door for titles, don't you? But you know, the matches have to be right. There's no point putting them in with someone who's maybe 15, 16, 17-0, because that would be maybe a little bit too far for them. So you want to give them the right kind of match, a competitive match, which you know that they've got a good chance of winning. So you know, Alex is managed by Mo. I think we're going to be knocking on the door for titles now in the next 2 fights. Could even be a title shot on March the 1st on the MTK bill. So
that's for Alex.
That's for Alex. Yeah, we're waiting to see. Then with the likes of, I mean, Rhys is 2-0, but he's only 18 years of age, and he's not like an 18, is he? He's like a 14 or 15-year-old. So he hasn't got that man strength yet. He hasn't got that maturity yet. So with Rhys, I think we can just keep him ticking over, fighting the same type of opponents, just picking up experience every 6 weeks or so. And obviously Mo puts a lot of bills on, so I think we're looking for Rhys to be out about 8 times this year, which to be honest, you know, that's a dream for any pro to turn pro and have 8 fights in 1 year. That's great, because I think the going rate at the moment is about 3 fights a year if you're lucky. So there's not, I don't think there's as much opportunities as what it used to be 10, 20 years ago. So a lot of these guys now, if they're stuck with one promoter, they tend to be sort of 3 times a year, unless you're the best of the best, and you sign with Matchroom and you're one of the favoured ones. You can fight as often as you want, but you know, that luxury doesn't come to many people, does it? So then obviously Meredith, we just want to keep him as busy as possible. I got really high hopes for Meredith. He's a big puncher, which he showed in the last 2 fights, 2 first-round victories. Then we have Mano Lee coming back. He's fighting on the MTK bill. Mano actually lost twice to Willie Warburton, but you know, people will look at Warburton's record and say, well, Mano Lee must be rubbish. Well, quite the contrary. He's a very, very talented guy. Not always the most dedicated, and just, I think against Warburton, he ran out in the first round, tried to stop him and blew himself out. I actually thought he won the second fight with Warburton. He wasn't actually with me then for those 2 fights. I think he came to me after that, but got high hopes, and if he can stay dedicated, then you know, he could possibly win a Welsh title and so on. Who else is there? Chris Jenkins we've got. You know, Chris is possibly the unluckiest guy I know. You know, he doesn't really sell tickets, so you have to look for him in a match against someone else, and the problem is he's such a danger man that people won't use him as an opponent. So you know, and when he does get used as an opponent, I mean, we've had it for the last 2 fights against Dara Foley and Ridley Ravel. They clashed heads and he got cut. He just seems to be unlucky with cuts. So we're just hoping for a little bit of luck then with Chris this year. Who am I missing out?
Jay Harris.
Jay Harris, yeah. Now Jay, You know, we're hoping that Jay fights on March the 1st in Cardiff on the MTK bill.
Defending the Commonwealth?
Defending the Commonwealth title. I mean, he's mandatory for the British super flyweight title. So it's difficult with flyweights. Nobody seems to be really interested in flyweights, and that's unfortunate for Jay because he's a cracking little fighter. There's a fight being mooted between Jay and Sonny Edwards for the future.
It'd be really.
I know they get on really well. They went away to the Ukraine sparring together, so I know they get on really well.
Yeah,
so
Sonny seems a really nice kid as well. He's
yeah,
from
definitely.
Orange, from Croydon,
yeah,
so.
and Jay speaks very highly of him. So listen, you know what I think they'll have to do. Put their friendship aside for just for one night and earn a bit of money together, and then possibly be friends after as well. So I think.
Jacob as well?
Yes, Jacob Lovell. Jacob's actually signed to MTK. He's going to be fighting on March the 1st as well. Nice kid, Jacob. Actually boxed Reese in the amateurs twice.
Oh, well,
boxed
really?
each other in the amateurs twice. So,
what was the result for that?
I wasn't going to go into that, but Reese beat him twice, but they were close fights.
Yeah.
But no, he impressed on his debut. He fought the old Wiley Fox, Michael Mooney. And he did a good job, won all 4 rounds, and Michael spoke very highly of his skills after. So, you know, big hopes for all the guys. You know, I don't necessarily take on guys that are not at that level, and I believe every single guy in the gym could possibly win a British title. You know, so high hopes for the future for them all.
It's funny you say about Reese and Jacob boxing, because Alex and Nathan boxed, didn't they, in the amateurs as well?
Alex and Nathan did box, yeah, and that was another close one. But you know, these are the things, you know, you often get this. I think Chris Jenkins beat Mano as well in the amateurs. Yeah. And
but you have such a good camaraderie, you know, you see it all. Apart from when you're working them, obviously, quite hard. I'm sure they hate you at that point.
There's a lot of mickey taken before and after. Most of it at my expense, I'll say. But you know, obviously, when they've got to work hard within the training session, they get their heads down and they work hard. But they're all, you know, it only takes one bad egg. You know, it only takes one guy who isn't particularly on the wavelength of the others, and you know, you do get some of these nasty pieces of work every now and again. Not very often in boxing. Most people are great, aren't they? But you know, if you get one bad egg, it can drag the rest down. But they all get on very, very well in different ways. So yeah, it's a great gym at the moment. I'm really enjoying life as a coach at the moment.
And just away from boxing for a second, obviously you caught a cameo of you on Cage Warriors.
Really? Okay, yeah.
Obviously the boxing coach for Jack.
Jack Shaw.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I first got involved with Lewis Long, who's with Bellator now, maybe 5-6 years ago, and I still train Lou now. Lou's a good friend, but then from Lou, I think Jack's dad asked me to get involved with him as well, and I said, well, yeah, you know, it's a pleasure to be involved with these guys. I mean, I'm only really working with them once or twice a week, but just for that one discipline for boxing, I think it's important for them to be alert to every discipline and to be obviously as good as they can be in every single discipline. And you know, the fact that they come to me to sort of brush up on their skills is quite flattering, to be honest. So.
Is it much difference training a cage fighter than a boxer?
Big time.
Aside from obviously the gloves and what have you.
I think, you know, I tend to concentrate on their technique and make sure that they keep their form and they punch in the correct manner. I mean, it's not rocket science, but then I think the thing with they confuse themselves when to punch and when not to punch, and their judgment of distance is different to a boxer. Their judgment of distance is their front leg, which is slightly longer. So you see see some of the MMA fighters, they get hit with stupid punches sometimes because their judgment of distance is out. But then the better ones, see the UFC fighters, I think every single one of those guys are at a very good level. And I think, you know, at that level, at UFC level, if you're particularly weak in any one discipline, you're going to get found out. So that's why, you know, it is important, like I said, you know, it's not just boxing, which is, you know, that's the discipline I work on, obviously, with Jack and with Lewis Long and other guys. They need to do the same with all the other disciplines, with their judo work, their grappling work, their, you know, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu work. They need to be they need to be hot on them disciplines as well as the boxing. So when you think of it, it's a lot for those guys to think of. It's an insanely tough sport.
And the financial reward is not quite as good as boxing at the moment, unless you start really...
No, but I mean, if you think... Boxing's very similar, because if you look at the boxing at... I was explaining it somewhere the other day, boxing at the small ball level where the boys have to sell tickets. You know, Meredith Thomas, for instance, you know, I don't think Meredith's earned more than £300 or £400 for any fight, because he's been let down. He had a lot of bad luck. I mean, in his debut, he had what did they find? They found something on his scan. I think he had a racing heartbeat, so that delayed things, and we already had him matched. So the delay ended up forcing him out of the fight, which was difficult because I think he'd done about 100 odd tickets, and of course people go, oh, no, even though they got refunds, if that happens again and again, which it has with Meredith for various reasons, you couldn't make them up. Honestly, it's crazy. But I think a lot of people got they got a little bit fed up with buying tickets, and then the fight doesn't happen. But when guys can't sell tickets on small hall shows, they don't earn a lot of money. So
it's just going back to the obviously the first time I met you with Reece. I think Alex was fighting on a bill, but you guys brought a massive crowd down from Wales. I think it's nice to know that you guys have got a lot of support.
Well, especially Reece. I mean, Alex. I think Alex had boxed 2 weeks before in Llandarcy, and I think he did about 160 tickets. To ask fans to pay twice in 2 weeks is a difficult ask.
It's travel, isn't it?
Of course. So it was Reece's debut. I think he did 66 tickets on a Friday night in London. So that's a 5-hour trip from where he lives, with the traffic on a Friday night. So 66. What does that equal in Wales?
He felt like it was about 660.
Yeah, it sounded it was a big noise. Yeah.
I think Alex did about 25 as well. So there was nearly 100 strong crowd. And there was more Welshmen in there than
I think there were Reece was on early as well, especially for the second fight. I think he was on quite early, but all the boys were on the drink. It was nice to see. Just one last thing. Randomly, I was watching the Enzo Jones fight the other day, and I've seen Enzo kind of talk about this one more fight. I remember tweeting him about a year ago, and he seems like he kind of does want one more. But tells him a little bit of that.
Well, listen, you get all the keyboard warriors and whatnot on Twitter saying, you should have packed it in years and years ago. But I mean, Enzo got knocked out a few times, and Enzo came to me in about 2012, and I concentrated just solely on defence, just blocking and just being a little less erratic, and I think we were together. I think it was about 4 or 5 years until the last fight where he got dropped in the first round and he just got caught cold and stopped. But in our time together, I think it was 4 or 5 years, he'd not been off his feet. He had a couple of defeats, a crazy one against Oval Mackenzie where the referee just jumped in and stopped it for nothing. He beat Oval in the return. And then there was, again, just bad luck. He got caught with a shot in the first round against Jürgen Bremen in a world title fight, and his eyes just come up like this. So yeah, we had a good time together, myself and Enzo. But he wants one more. I think. Look, if I mean, he's getting on a bit now as well, Enzo. And it's
like social media. He likes a takeaway as well.
Yeah, but he's still training. Yeah, he's very hard.
Bang on it, and I think I've tweeted it a couple of times. I'd like to see him just have that goodbye fight.
Listen, it could be arranged, but obviously we wouldn't. Enzo's. He knows that now he's nowhere near what he was. If it was the right fight against the right opponent, then why not?
Have you spoken about it recently?
To be honest, we're in touch most days, myself and Enzo, mostly on sending little messages back and forth as you do. Yeah. But we haven't actually spoken about it, but we will. Yeah. Because it's coming to the point now where he needs to do it now, rather than.
Because it's been, is it 3-4 years since
I think it was May 2015.
Yeah, dual call, wasn't it?
I think it was, if he's going to do it, he needs to do it now. But as I say, it has to be against the right opponent. I I think it would be his 50th win or 40th win.
Yeah,
Something like that. 40th win, I think. Yeah. So for that sole purpose only, just to get that one last one out, I'd help him out with that. Of course, I would, he's my mate. So yeah, but no, big love for Enzo, and what went on over in Moscow will be. We'll tell the story one day, and it was pretty scary.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Alex was there as well, wasn't he?
Alex was there, Zach Davis was there, Liam Williams was there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing him.
So yeah, the story will be told one day, but it's a good story.
We'll look forward to that. Before we go, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I talked enough.
Yes. Well, thanks again. And thanks again for your hospitality.
No problem at all.
And hopefully we'll see you soon.